Okay, I'm going to do my best effort to explain what happens in the scene, kind of with a visual diagram. So, first of all, in this universe, there's the magic ability to basically push metals away from you. So, our main character, our hero, this is Wax, main character. Okay, he's using allomancy to push this bullet away from him, and then there's our villain character, and he is using his allomancy to push the bullet away from him. So they're both pushing against the bullet in opposite directions, which means the bullet is just standing still in the middle of the room. It's just staying in place where it is. Now, Wax realizes that there's kind of this stalemate. He's also in trouble. He's already injured, so he has to take out our villain. Okay, so what he does is he realizes that the bullet has three components. So up here, this is the actual bullet. There's a whole cartridge. So this is the bullet. Here in red, that's the casing. So that's the brass casing on the cartridge. And then this green part here, that's the primer. Normally when a hammer strikes the primer, it ignites the gunpowder, which is the little dots in here, and it sends the bullet out that way. Now keep in mind, this bullet is floating in the middle of an air. So what Wax decides to do is he decides to isolate. He decides he's only going to put his magic force, push only the primer, and the other guy continues to push on the other parts. So now the bullet and the casing are being pushed towards Wax, and Wax is only pushing the primer. So I'm not sure how the magic works exactly, why it would detonate it, but let's just say it detonates the primer, igniting all this gunpowder. Now what happens in the story is the gunpowder ignites and the bullet goes that way and hits him in the head, and kills him, because the bullet just shoots out and kills him because he got the gunpowder ignited. Now I use the red marker and show you what would actually happen. So the bullet is made of lead and is relatively heavy and is very kind of dense metal. Now the brass casing is very light and it's very thin. Bullets are supposed to be chambered and then fired down a barrel. The reason why they're chambered is because the brass doesn't hold in the pressure from the exploding gunpowder. The chamber of the firearm holds in that pressure, and thus the only way for that pressure to get relieved is for it to push the bullet down the barrel and hit someone. So what he does when he ignites this, so big explosion, remember, it's pressure. It's going to go into wherever the least resistance is. Is it going to go and push this really big, heavy chunk of lead? No, it's going to blow out the sides because there's no chamber to hold it in. So what it's going to have is a giant explosion, or not giant, it's a single handgun cartridge. It would just be like a pop in midair, and probably have little bits of, casing, little bits of the shell, just scraps of brass out here. That, keep in mind, this guy is still pushing against, so that would explode out. The primer would be exploded, and what would happen next is he's still pushing on this bullet. So this bullet actually, after the explosion, the only thing holding it back should go right here and kill our main character. So I think the author thought he was being very clever with detonating the thing to have the bullet shoot the bad guy. But in reality, if Wax did this and firearms work the way that they work, with bullets working the way that they do, which is how they work in this universe, even though there's magic, they still have bullets that work the way they work for us. If he did all the things with real life, logic, even with the magic, he would have killed himself. The bad guy would have just pushed the bullet and he would have died. Yeah.